let's start talking about the relationship that you have with your potential clients before they actually become your clients. Okay, so before you close a deal and you start working on a project, usually you'll have some kind of relationship, right? It's not as if they come out of the blue, you don't know them, and then they just become clients. You usually have some kind of relationship with them, either during the sales process or you knew them for a while, or they become your lead through your marketing activities, right? So how you keep that relationship. First, let's start talking about what are the goals of the relationship. So there's a lot of people who know you, right? So you want to stay top of mind for these people, meaning that they think about you every once in a while. They remember, oh, this person is doing this, so if I ever need this, I'm going to call Ron. Ron is a designer. Every once in a while, I remind them that my name is Ron and I'm a designer, right? So they remember me. If they'll need a designer, boom, my name will come to mind. So that's the first part of, of our goal. We want to stay top of mind. And then when we are staying top of mind, we want to make sure that we are being helpful and that we are being perceived as the expert. Because remember, we want them, obviously they know us at this point, so we want to remind them that we exist, and we want to remind them that they like us and that they trust us because we're helpful and we are the experts. So let's think about how can we do that in a systematic way. All right, a lot of the things that we're talking about throughout the program is how can we create systems to make sure that these things happen consistently. We want to have all our people in our network or that are currently leads having to achieve that goal with them, right? To stay top of mind and being helpful and an expert, perceived as an expert for them. So how can we keep in touch with them? One thing that we can do is to send emails. Okay, we can do that, every once in a while. We have our CRM, so we can pop that up, see if there's somebody that we didn't talk to in a while, and just send them an email. And we'll talk about in a second about what to send in the email. But an email can be a way of keeping in touch with people. We can give them a call, all right? We can set up a meeting. Maybe that's coffee, maybe that's lunch. Have some kind of a meeting with them. Obviously, when we meet them, whether it's in one-on-one meeting or in some kind of an event, it reminds them that we exist. So it keeps us top of mind, and then we can be helpful and expert. Maybe we have some kind of a newsletter. So if we have their email, if we have the email of all our current leads, we can send an email to everyone in a periodic way to keep in touch with them. Maybe if our marketing channel or our maybe social platform, we can produce content, right? When we produce content that's relevant to them, it reminds them that we exist. It helps position us as an expert. So producing content in a systematic way can be our way to keep in touch in scale with a lot of people. Okay, now remember, we want to make sure this happens systematically. So whatever your choice of staying in touch with, remember, these are not yet clients. These are kind of leads or people in your network. We want to make sure this is systematic. So maybe that's part of your marketing system. Okay, if you're doing content marketing on Instagram, so this happens in any case, right? But even if your marketing channel is something different, you need to find a systematic way to stay in touch with the people that you brought into your world as leads. So that is the first step. Find some kind of a system that you want to stay in touch with your prospective clients. For me, by the way, that was blogging for many years. I would just write a blog and I would post the posts on my personal Facebook page. So even though I didn't have a lot of followers or readers, everybody in my personal network, which was maybe 300 people, every week at a certain time, they would get a post from me, and that would remind them that, hey, this is Ron. He's a designer, and he has maybe smart things to say about design. So even if I don't read what the blog says, when I think about a designer, if I need a recommendation for a designer, I'm going to remember him and I'm going to recommend him. All right, so what can you do when you're getting in touch with people? How can you be helpful in those interactions? So first of all, maybe you read something that's interesting. Okay, so your niche, you're now becoming an expert in your niche. So maybe you're reading the trade blogs or listened to podcasts, or you saw something in the news that might be relevant to one of your potential clients, you can always send them a link and say, hey, look, I read this and I thought about your business. I thought you should read this article. That's always super, super helpful. Even if they already read it, it shows that you're thinking about them and that you have their best interest at heart. Maybe you met someone. So something super, super valuable that you can do for people is introduce them to other people who might be helpful for them. So if you're working with startups and you met an investor who's looking to invest in that space, of course that introduction can be very valuable. If you've met an engineer and you know that this company is hiring, maybe they want to hire that person. So any introduction that you can do for people in your network in general is going to be very, very helpful. So think about the people you know and the people that you meet. If you can mix them up in some way, everybody's going to benefit from that. Maybe you have an idea from them. So again, maybe you read something, or maybe just walked down the street and thought, wow, if this company would do this, I think this would be amazing. So shooting an email or a phone call of saying, look, I thought about this idea for your business, and just give them the idea for free is super, super valuable. Again, even if they don't end up taking action on it, it reminds them that you exist. It reminds them that you're helpful and that you're an expert, and it's super, super valuable. It creates a lot of goodwill. Again, if you heard something in the news, which is basically kind of like something interesting, you can mention this to them, you can send it to them, and it's going to be very valuable. The last thing, if you saw something broken in their business, if you noticed a link on their website that's not working, or something that went wrong in their social profile or something like this, it's always great to mention this to them. And this actually was helpful for me in some cases where I had potential clients and something broke in their website, some CSS file wasn't loading properly, and I show this to them just because out of concern. I was like, hey man, I was looking into your website and this page was broken. Shows that you're taking interest, shows that you're a professional, and builds a lot of goodwill. So all of these things are things that you can do before people become your clients, and it builds a lot of goodwill and positions you in a way that people want to work with you, making the sale much more easier, and builds good relationship before you actually need it, which is the key.